You ever just have the smell of bad breath around you?
Yes. Yeah.
I can't stand it. It makes me
so my question is, what do you do? What do you do? You're around somebody, you love somebody, you know somebody, you're talking to somebody. It hits you. What do you do?
Immediately look for a piece of gum for myself.
For you first, so not them.
Exactly.
But what if you know your conscience is clean? You know it's not you. What are you doing for them?
No, you get a piece first, and then while you're getting your piece, you want one? You want one too?
So you go immediate into rescue mode.
Have to. I'm rescuing myself.
What if you don't know them that well?
I'll distance myself if I have to.
But if you know the person and they're like a friend, you're gonna try and solve it for them.
Yeah, I feel like it's the duty. Absolutely.
Oh, it's so hard though.
I don't know.
I don't know if I ever say anything. I think if they don't get the hint after the gum trick, I'm just letting them
Or the
survive.
distance trick.
Right.
Like if you take a step back and you're like, I'm hoping this solves it. Doesn't solve it really. I find myself talking to a lot of people. It hits me. I don't act. I power through.
Same.
I don't want to embarrass.
There's nothing worse than someone being like, you need gum.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that.
That is an indication of close friendship.
You would rather have bad breath than someone confront you.
No,
that's not no.
It makes you so self-conscious because then you think you're like, who else have I spoken to that has experienced this? Like I would just rather a friend like pull out their gum and be like, do you want a piece?
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, of course. Because everyone always wants gum.
But I will say
you wouldn't do that for someone else.
What do you mean?
You said that you wouldn't do that.
I would offer gum.
Okay.
I don't always offer gum, and I find myself trying to distance a little bit. And I got to be honest, there's a few people I speak to weekly.
Do you
and
know?
I know it's coming.
I was about to say when you approach, you already know that you have to power through.
And I don't say anything. I can't. What am I going to say? Hey, man, I've known you for a few years, and out of the 51 weeks that I see you per year,
they're all bad.
It's not going good. Like what? How do you bring that up?
That's so true.
You can't just say that.
You can't.
It's the chronic bad breath. It's like, do you not brush your teeth?
Is it
genetic?
And if you're a married man, let's think about a married man. If you're a married man, your wife doesn't tell you that?
Yes.
Like Julia would let me know, like, hey, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like if you have kids, like do your kids
your kids,
you?
Oh, your kids, they're brutal. Kids are brutally honest.
My dad was an avid coffee drinker. Every morning he would come to talk to me and I'd be like, you're too close.
Yeah.
All I smell is black coffee. That's all I smell.
It's a distinct smell.
It is.
Now, I'm not talking about the coffee in the cup. I'm talking about the coffee that has been consumed.
Yes.
On the bad breath. Like it's just a combo that you will never forget.
And I will be honest, the people that I think hit the hardest are the coffee people.
Oh, for
absolutely.
Sure.
Coffee is a crusher. I'm a big, I got this dispenser. Julia bought me this dispenser. It hangs on my wall. This morning I put there's a little cup on this magnets underneath it. I grab one of the little cups, I put it in, just automatically dispenses. I throw a little swig back there. I'm going at it. I'm getting it all around there, and then I spit it out. Then I'm doing a brush. I'm doing my part because I've had 2 coffees today.
So everyone else needs to do their part.
Yeah,
I'm willing to have bad breath while I have a cup of coffee.
Okay, that's fine.
Right?
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. That is not the subject matter. We're talking about 2 hours later. We're talking about the afternoon.
It's also just the self-awareness of being like, I'm going to interact with people today.
100%.
I should carry.
Yes.
If you have bad breath, you have known one time or another that you have bad breath.
Well, and I think the thing about breath that's so interesting is you kind of just, when it's bad yourself, you know. So you can just kind of tell.
Have a something to help you succeed.
You can just kind of, something's going on in the back of your mind going like, it's not right now, is it? It's kind of like your outfit. When something's just off. You just kind of know like, this is not good.
It just impacts everyone around you when your breath is bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I don't know how to bring myself to the place of going like, hey man, we should do something about this.
Yeah. I would rather be like, hey, your fly is down.
Yeah.
Than be like, your breath is bad.
I'd rather, hey. Yeah.
Get something in your teeth. I'll pick something out of someone's teeth for them.
Acai bowl. Like, hey, you got something.
But the breath.
But
is just-
because and I will say that's friendship too.
True.
Friendship, there's 3 things that you must do as a good friend. It is number 1, the fly down. Number 2, something in your teeth. And number 3, a boog in the nose. Those are just givens.
Universal.
You're crossing the line
Right.
when you talk about breath. You are crossing the line.
I agree.
Now, marriage inbounds. I can tell
course.
Julia, oh, Dragon Lady's back. Get out of here.
Dragon lady.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Fire starter. Get out of here.
The big hands is crazy.
Yeah, whoa.
Go back to where you came from.
Whoa.
Brush again.
Stop. Every morning you want to kiss me. No, I'm kidding. She doesn't want to. All right, let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to Leadership Lean In. We're in episode 174, and we are just believing for good breath for you.
Yep.
Thank you for every person that is a part of our world. We call our world a nation. It's a small little tribe. It's not a big deal. It's a small little tribe of these people that want to become better leaders. We are in the community of leadership that wants to get better. We cannot promise perfection, but we're working our hardest to deliver on progress. Thank you to every person that subscribes to our email. We put out weekly leadership emails and content, as well as our podcast. And I just got to say this before we jump in, make sure that you pre-order the book. My new book is coming out in just 3 weeks. It is called I Bet You Think This Book Is About You. Let's sing it just for good measure. You're so vain. I bet you think this book is about you, don't you? You're so vain.
Oh.
We have a new book. It is about pride versus humility. I want to encourage you to buy it for not just for yourself, but for your team.
Hey, we want to take a quick break from our Leadership Lean In content to shout out one of our favorite sponsors, Mosh Bars.
Yeah, we love them. I actually heard a rumor that
Okay.
they have not only a new look, but they have a new formula. Nate, tell us about this new formula of Mosh Bar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, I love the cookie dough one.
Yeah, it's so good.
And now they have this ingredient called Cognizin that helps with your brain health.
Wow.
And it's absolutely amazing for a protein bar. It's one of those bars where you eat it and you think you're cheating, but
It
you're
is
not.
that. You're
It is
never
so
cheating.
good.
And there's 8 flavors.
Yes.
I love the variety of flavors. They have fruity ones, they have chocolatey ones.
They have plant-based
Yeah.
varieties as well.
No, but we want to make sure that we give you the offer they've given us because we love Mosh Bar. We're using this. We want you to use it. We want you to love it as much as we are. So I'm just going to read this directly because we do not want you to miss out on any part of it. So if you want to find ways to give back to others and to fuel your body and your brain, Mosh Bars are the perfect choice for you. Head to moshlife.com/LLI to save 20% off plus free shipping on the Best Sellers trial pack. That's 20% off plus free shipping on the Best Sellers trial pack at moshlife.com/LLI. Thank you, Mosh, for sponsoring this episode.
Oh yeah, by the way, they were on Shark Tank. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
You need to
gotta,
go watch.
Yeah, you gotta go watch it. You gotta check it out.
Yeah.
But we're gonna head back to our Leadership Lean In content. Let's go.
It's my favorite thing to do. I just really like that.
I was like,
It's a lot of fun.
It has to happen.
Yeah, it's just like it's like official. What if we got a new table and it was like it didn't? 'Cause this is like a perfect it's like hollow.
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Today we're talking about recipe for growth. This is a recipe for growth. I like this because I always think whenever I think about growth, I think it takes a cocktail of right decisions, a combination of good habits, good decisions, healthy right decisions that get you on a momentum to build you into growth. And I always think, but law of opposite, whenever you see something failing, going backwards, things that have happened, wrong stuff, it's like a recipe. It's a cocktail of bad decisions that get you into trouble. So I never believe it's one thing that decides everything. It's multiple. So I'll give you 3 things today. This is a recipe for growth. We all want to grow. If you're a leader, you want to grow in your organization, you want to grow personally, you want to grow in your finances, your physical health, your emotional stability, your relationships. If you're a leader, you're obsessed with growth. So here's a recipe for growth today. Number 1, be faithful. And I love this because what we're starting off with is not rocket science. It's just like showing up, being faithful. Faithfulness equals fruitfulness. Everybody wants fruitfulness, which is growth, impact, but I cannot have that without being faithful. So faithfulness equals fruitfulness. The more faithful you are, it's the whole thought. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
It's built daily, the daily habits, daily decisions, just being faithful. Keep saying yes, keep showing up, keep being on time, keep being punctual, keep on keeping on. When the going gets tough, the tough keep going. How did you get so far? Well, you just kept being faithful. And then when you're faithful, you look back, you go, wow, we've kind of come a far way. We just celebrated last week. We opened the grand opening of our building. And it was so cool to see some people that were there day one, some living room people for us in our story, so to speak. Some people that were there even before the living room.
Yeah.
I saw a few people hugging them, crying with them, of going like, man, you were faithful all these years, and now look at where you're at. There's cool moments in leadership where you can go, wow, the faithfulness allowed me to get further than I ever did on my talent or my gifting. I get a little bit scared of people that want virality or just instant success. Everything about impact takes faithfulness. And I like this idea of faithfulness because it embodies perseverance. It embodies endurance. It embodies that ability to go like, man, I'm going to have some good days and some bad days and some highs and some lows and some rich and some poor and some sickness and health, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I feel. I've already resolved. And the more faithful you are in your relationships, the more faithful you are to your commitment of your calling, the more faithful you are, I think the more confidence you have, and the more confidence people have in you. They know you're going to show up. Why? Because you've been showing up for 20 years. You've been showing up for 30 years.
Right.
You've been showing up for 5 years. Keep being faithful. I think faithfulness is one of the most underrated qualities in a leader today.
Yeah.
Be faithful.
Yeah, I think there's nothing exciting about telling someone nothing is really going to happen until about 5 years. But the truth of the matter is, it takes about 5 years
Man.
to be planted somewhere to really see long-lasting impact in the environment you're in. But really, truly, it takes about 5 years for you to figure out yourself in that place too.
Yeah.
100%.
And to see what type of value you can get from, but also the real value that you can put in somewhere. I don't think longevity is celebrated enough.
That's it.
That's great.
And I don't know if it's because people aren't willing to wait for the good stuff. Because I do feel like all the best things in life take a long time to
Oh
get
my
there.
gosh.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's not as celebrated as much, maybe because there's more options or like social media or whatever it is. But if you're not willing to plant somewhere for a long time, how can you ever think that you're going to grow branches tall enough
That's it.
to have a lot of fruit? It's like, of course.
That's
Yeah.
really, really good. I think the best compliment someone can give you is that you're consistent,
That's it.
which is
So good.
Yeah.
faithfulness, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you're such a consistent friend. Oh, you're such a consistent coworker. I know every day when you show up what you're going to be like and what you're going to bring. And that's faithfulness. It's every single day I'm dedicated. Every single day I'm choosing to work through all the things you said, the hard, the good, the celebrations, the not so celebrations, all of the things.
And I think the problem is, I think you mentioned social media, is I think we see in front of us these overnight successes.
Yeah.
This instant notoriety or instant fame, and in our culture today, you could get famous off I don't know if we got to edit this out, but a Hawktua. You can get famous off something as dumb as that, and it's like boom, you went from Nowhereville with no money to millions.
Yep.
Right.
And I think that's a scary thought in leadership. There's a difference between being notorious and being like effective.
That's right.
Influential.
That's right.
That's really great.
Making an impact.
That's really great.
You know, people can know you, but not respect you.
That's right.
Like in leadership, we are in the service business. We're in the service industry.
Yeah.
And anybody that we really respect is because they've been doing something for a long time.
Yeah.
I think anybody could be married for 1 year. Anybody could be married for 5 to 10. Who do we honor? You've been married for 50 years.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
How did you do that?
Yep.
I always think, what did you work through? How much forgiveness? How much turmoil? How much conflict? How much issues? Oh my God. We celebrate. And it's like the way that things grow and develop, if you take away faithfulness, there's no growth.
Yeah.
That's right.
Faithfulness is like it's the foundation of growth. Just showing up. We talk about this all the time. James Clear. It's the compound of consistency.
That's right.
Yep.
And when the more faithful you are at something, it's like, wow, how did you get so good at your craft? I was just faithful. Just kept doing it.
I was gonna pull a James Clear quote as well. He talks about faithfulness being tied to not an end goal, but who you are.
That's
Wow,
it.
That's
And so
really
it's
great.
like you won't be faithful if there's an end to whatever you're being faithful towards. But if it's who you are,
That's it.
I'm faithful because I'm a consistent person, or
Yeah.
I'm a healed person, or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
That's where true faithfulness. But if you're somewhere or doing something and you're there to get something,
That's it.
to accomplish a goal, then when that thing's over, you have no
Now
reason to be
what?
faithful in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. When you say that, it makes me think about Bible reading. When I read the Bible every morning at the same time every day, it's not because I have an end goal.
Right.
It's just who I am.
Yes.
I do this every single day, and I've been faithful to do it. I was preaching somewhere this last week. I was in Sacramento Jesus Culture, and someone was acknowledging in passing, like, he knows the Bible. I could hear it in all your references, like quoting it, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot. But the only reason why I know the Bible is because I read it every day
Yeah.
for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And I've been storing it up. I was faithful. I didn't show up in Bible college or in my internship, read it, got it. Now I'm coasting off that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's just like faithful to it. And
That's
the
right.
more faithful you are at something, the more fruitful, the more impact, the more growth, the more effectiveness. So I think the first thing, everybody wants to grow. Whoa, recipe for growth? What is it? Yeah, be faithful.
Show up every day.
Show up.
Yep.
Do the same. Boring. Being a leader is being boring. Boring. Like I'm boring. I'm mad boring. I'm the most boring.
Predictable.
I am robotic boring. And I love my boring
Yeah.
because it allows me to be
Yep.
Yep.
impactful. Number 2, available. The best ability is availability. That's just the bottom line. And we think that, man, it's about being so gifted and so talented. But you know what? What I have found is I can't work with people that aren't here. The first prerequisite is I'm available.
Yeah.
And for me, all of my availability starts with God. I am first available to the Lord. Lord, here's this morning I dropped off the boys, and right before I dropped off the boys, I got a text from a friend. Hey, do you have a minute? I get on the phone. It's an hour-long call, a lot of tears, a lot of stuff going on, but I'm available. I'm not like I've got my agenda and I got this and I got.
That's right.
I just think like to me the greatest leader that ever lived is a guy named Jesus, and if you watch his leadership, they were filled with so much interruptions. Interruptions are not comfortable. They're not convenient. They're not on the calendar. They're just in the moment. And I got to battle this a little bit because I'm, again, robotic and regiment and routine, but I also have to have margin in my life for flexibility.
Yeah.
Because I got to be available. I got to be available to my wife. I got to be available to my kids. I got to be available to the team, to the community. I got to be available to people outside of my community. I just got to make myself available. And the moment you close off, the moment you cut off your availability, going like, I'm boxed into these hours, I'm boxed into this time, I will give room. I'm just telling you, the less available you are, the more you signal that out, the less your phone rings,
Yeah.
the less impact you'll make, the less people will look and reach out to you because they know, they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
They're not coming through. They're not going to help. They don't want to. It's to me, it's what's sad is people lose that heart and that desire to be used, to serve. I think be faithful, but be available.
You know what text I love to get back? I'll text someone, hey, are you available, or you want to hang out, or let's go do dinner or something like that. And this is the text I get back. Oh man, I'm not able to, but please don't stop asking me.
Yes, I love
I
that.
appreciate that so much.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I so wish I could.
Yeah. It almost means, it's like, it's almost more, please
It's
keep
a
on
deposit.
texting. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
You know when I'm the most available is when I'm the most healthy. And
100%.
I like what you just said about margin. I was listening to this podcast and it was talking about like when you have no margin, it's this time for you to like reflect, where am I?
Yeah.
And because I have zero margin, that means I have zero to give anyone else.
Yeah.
And so it's actually my job as a leader, as whatever your job and your role is, to invest in other people. So are you healthy enough to do that? And if you're not, it's your job as a leader.
That's it. Because I think when you don't sort your personal life,
That's right.
how could you be available?
Exactly.
You're not available.
Yep.
You must be available to what beckons you in that season to sort. That's fine. Go sort it, but come back to availability.
That's
Right.
right.
I find so many people. I was just talking to this guy, and he leads a great organization, and he's a phenomenal leader. And I was asking him, what's the number one issue that you guys are facing in your organization? He said, the number one issue we're facing is we have students that would leave our college. He leads a college. They'll go to X, Y, and Z, get placed, whatever, not have the best experience, come back to their church and say, we want to serve again. We want to get involved and have every intention, but never get plugged back in,
Wow.
never reintegrate. And eventually, not only do they not serve, they stop coming to
Wow.
church. And I think, what is it about that disconnect that they were saying, I'm available, but couldn't connect the dots?
Yeah.
I think it's got to go from well-wishing, like I'm available, I wish they'd text me, to just show up and be faithful.
That's right.
It's that whole thing is like, I'm working with who's there.
Yep.
I cannot beg, borrow, and steal people to be there. I can, I got to work with those that are hungry, those that are humble, and those that are available. If you're hungry to be used, if you're hungry to build, if you're hungry to be there, if you're humbled and you're not, pretentious, conceited, arrogant, trying to get yours, and you don't want to put on, a kid's t-shirt or whatever, fill in the blank, and available. Those are the people you can work with.
Yeah.
And so faithfulness, of course, that's a given. Availability, huge. Make yourself available. And by the way, when you're available, don't make people hunt down your availability.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you let me know? You lead up. I'm available X, Y, and Z. The third one, I love this one so much. Teachable. I am faithful, I am available, and I am teachable. That teachable spirit, that ability to go, I don't know anything. I need to ask questions. It's the difference between having all of the answers or having all of the questions. Now, this is interesting because we have a podcast here called Leadership Lean In, and we're talking leadership all the time. But I got to tell you, I got more questions than I got answers.
Yeah.
And when I get around leaders, I do not waste my proximity. When I get around great people, I'm like, can you help me with this? I want to ask you about this. I'm dealing with this. Can you speak into this? I'm asking questions. Why? Because the more you lead, the more you understand, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't have anything figured out, but I can recognize that you're further ahead. I recognize that you have wisdom and experience. I could recognize that you could be a great voice in my life. And in the multitude of counselors, not counselor, in the multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. A lot of people go wrong because they have a mentor, a guru. No, the Bible says you need a multitude of counselors because one counselor is saying this and another one's saying that, and another one's saying this and another one's saying that, and somewhere is the truth.
Yep.
And so I want to encourage you, get counsel, get wisdom. Go find it. It's calling out in the streets. Go seek it. Put it around your neck. Call it your sister. It will advance you, promote you, honor you, bring wealth, bring favor. That's what wisdom does.
Yep.
But you got to go get it.
That's right.
And you cannot get wisdom without first having a teachable spirit. Only a fool goes, I know everything. I'm good. Heard all the stories. I read a book. I don't need anybody talking to my marriage. I don't need anybody talking to my money. Don't need anybody. But I'm telling you, get around the best of the best. They have a teachable spirit.
Yeah.
This is essential for growth. This is the, like, man, if you show up, you're faithful, and you show up, you make yourself available, and you're teachable. Who doesn't want to work with somebody like that?
That's a triple threat.
Who doesn't want somebody to be around on their team like that?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I know you know a lot. I know you're amazing. But man, if only we had the time to listen to how incredible you are, I'm sure. But you know what will make us really attracted and drawn to your leadership is if you come off, you give the impression that you don't know. Why are you acting like you don't know anything? Look at what you built. Why are you acting that way? It's not a coy move. It is a teachable spirit.
Yeah.
All of this today comes from when I was in Bible college. There was this pastor that came by and said, when he said it, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're going to get canceled, before I knew what cancel culture was. And we're in this chapel and he's like, you know what we need? And it's like 300, 400 Bible college nerds. You know what we need? We need a generation that would be fat. And when he said, I was like, oh my.
Stop.
And I was like, what is wrong with this man? And he kind of let it linger, and we're all like, this is the worst speaker. We need a generation that would be faithful, available, and teachable. And nobody moved. Everybody's like,
Oh my gosh.
and when we left, everybody's like, what was that guy thinking? But I tell you what, it did stick with me.
It worked.
It did stick with me. We need people in leadership that would be faithful, available, and teachable. So that cheesy professor that was never invited back, nobody letting that guy come back.
Dang.
The fastest way to lose your invite, say something like, out of everything
In
that you
California?
can talk about bad breath.
Yeah.
Well, we can't say that.
No.
You cannot say that. No. Not even, this is in the 90s. You can't even say that in the 90s. That is the F word you cannot use.
Stop.
You cannot use that word.
I'm dead.
But it stuck. It really did. It really stuck. And I just hope for us that we'd be faithful. And I see so many people arrive and they used to be available, you're not available no more.
Wow.
They once were available, you can't get a hold of them now. And once we're hungry, wanting to do great things, not available no more. Teachable. Oh, I used to be so teachable, but now I know everything. No, you really don't. If you had that teachable spirit, you can grow. This is a recipe for growth. We love you. We'll see you next time.